I'll share an example where I went for this market work with a senior sales officer who was handling a team of DSR. This DSR took a back seat and this guy was selling every time and telling the DSR, see how I have sold, why you're not able to sell.
What would be your top 3 advices for some sales head or some industry professional listening to this discussion?
I have seen when initially the Salesforce automation was launched in India, and what I found, there's a lot of reluctance on the sales team part to accept that technology and use it.
Welcome to the BeatRoute Podcast, where we explore sales transformation in retail distribution. I'm joined today by a seasoned industry expert who has been delivering sales transformation for FMCG companies. He is a sales consultant, trainer, YouTuber, and author of the book FMCG Sales Toolkit. His organization Skill to Will has been serving companies in India, Southeast Asia, and Africa. It's my pleasure to welcome Mr. Sandeep Ray to the podcast. Sandeep, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Nikhil.
You started as a hardcore sales guy in the field. You did it for more than a decade, right? And then you turned into a sales trainer, advisor, YouTuber, and an author. How did you start on this career transformation journey of yourself?
I think, it came quite natural to me because I was always inclined to understanding new processes, more organizations, and moreover, I wanted to, develop myself into a trainer, a facilitator, and training was the first thing that came to my mind. And it came quite naturally because I always liked coming in front of people, speaking to them, training them. And that is how I got a lot of, motivation for myself. So that was the first thing. And then when I actually took up this career as a trainer, then I found that, there's a lot of scope for putting it into action, because training is one part of it and putting it into action is the next part of it, which is the execution part of it. So that is where consulting came to my mind, that why don't I also help the organization in putting those training points into action. So that is how consulting. And while I was doing that, I realized that there are 3 different kinds of organizations. I mostly deal with FMCG organizations, the large organizations, medium scale, and then the small scale organizations, and there are many startups as well. So bigger organizations have got resources, people, all kinds of aid and support. But medium and small organizations, especially the smaller organizations, they don't have access to data. They don't have access to good people. As a result, they struggle a lot. And also they don't have access to the right knowledge and science. So that is where I thought, this is the time when I should also start reaching out to these people through my YouTube channel. Though I started putting some content on my YouTube channel, Skill to Will, like it was not very regular, but then COVID came, and during COVID, I thought, I will put more content, and there was some requirement from client, which has also come in. Clients start to say that my sales team is at home. Why don't you shoot some videos and put it on YouTube and share it with us so that they can also get trained while they are at home? So I started doing that, especially for my clients. But then I started realizing a lot of people outside my client and many people from outside India also started watching my videos. And they started communicating with me, sending me mails, WhatsApp. Some people started calling me. And that is where I found that a lot of people need access to this knowledge and this science. And that is how I started reaching out to more and more people. So first it came training, then consulting, then YouTube. And after YouTube, a lot of people said that, why don't you put everything together in a book? So then came the book, online training courses. So everything actually, came one after the other, only when I got a requirement. And I thought that it's required to create an impact. So creating the impact was the main aim.
That's nice. You mentioned that companies of all sizes come to you, right? So I understand that if it's a startup or a newer, smaller company, they might need help setting everything up, setting up their GTM, setting up their processes. But when it's an established brand that's been in the market for some years, when they come to you for advice, what is their number one most common problem statement for you?
I think the number one problem statement is execution. Because you might have the best of plan, you might have the best of resources, might have the best of product,
Yeah.
but if the execution is not right in the market, when there the salesman goes and talks to a retailer and says that, this is the product I've got, this is the scheme, this is the feature and benefit, this is what it is, how it should look in the outlet, the visibility, the execution, everything. If that is not done, then planning has no meaning. Even if you have the best of plan, you might be, it just stays in the Excel on the PowerPoint, it never gets executed. So bigger organizations come with this execution oriented challenges, where I play a major role creating content for them, training them across different levels.
So having a plan or getting the right advice is one thing. And like you mentioned, there might be gaps between having that plan and turning that into action. In your experience, what is the most common reason that organizations fail to make very obvious improvements to how they do sales? What prevents them from putting this plan or this advice into action?
I think there are two aspects of it. One is the right kind of people for the right kind of job. Where the leadership, here I'm talking about the managers, where the managers' ownership is not there, because the company's CEO, the MD, they might have a different thought process, and the senior management might have, thought about it and created certain processes, new plan, whatever. But then there's no ownership from the managers who are really going to drive this in the market. So if that is not there, then there's a gap. And also, I would say it is also the tools that they're used. The plan might be very good, but the managers are not given the right tools to execute it in the market. So without the right tools, without the right support, they're not able to do it. So two levels the problem comes. One is the leadership level. And I've also seen for smaller organizations where the MD or the CEO is involved himself or herself, there the execution is better. But where it is just left to one manager who is going to do it for them, execution is very poor. So involvement is the third.
You mentioned tools, and you mentioned tools for the managers. You mean tools for the field managers, area managers, or are you talking about just the up middle level or upper level managers?
Yeah, I think tools should be available at different levels. So for the front line, the nature of the tool is very, very different from what it is for the middle level managers and the senior level managers. So at every level, there are certain tools, but more required tool for the front line, where they need very much support in the market while they're executing. They should be aided with some kind of tool.
On that note, we have seen that when many companies start planning their sales transformation or sales excellence projects, they start by implementing some sort of sales tracking or data capture tool for their frontline sales reps. Is that the obvious first step, or there are other critical things that need to be done before that step?
See, what do you track? You track what is planned.
Yeah.
So the first step is the planning. I've seen a lot of this medium scale and in some startups, good product, they started and there's some acceptance in the market, they're doing good. And they starting a certain geography.
Yeah.
In a city. Suddenly they start getting inquiries from very different remote places, like, from South India, probably North India company getting an inquiry from South India, West India. Some distributor will call, some wholesaler will call, you give our product, we'll sell it over here. So they get very passionate and they're very motivated and they're very happy about it. But that is not what we are trying to do, because if you want to create a brand, you cannot leave the brand to people where you cannot have control. So planning is the first step. And decision making, that I will be first, if you want to become a brand in that city, in that town. First to become a brand there. And then you will have a better, otherwise you will always be fighting that price war. Yeah. People will tell that, there are, you give it to me at a lesser price. The price war comes in. So first build a brand, create that pull, then you're in a better position to go out, step out to different regions. Yeah. So that is the first step, planning. And then for tracking the execution basis that planning, you need the tools and all those things.
Okay. So my follow-up question actually comes from one of my teammates who is from Gujarat. So Parvez asked me to convey this question to you. He has seen many companies which are major players in Gujarat region. Many of them are selling more in rural areas or semi-urban areas. So his question was, despite being local brands, well-known brands, despite having economies of scale, why are these companies simply not able to hire more people in other states, expand in those states? What prevents these kind of local brands from expanding out?
See, the first is the planning which I'm talking
Yeah.
about. If you are planning to expand out of suppose Gujarat,
Yeah.
then where is the first question.
Yeah.
How is the next question. Third question is who.
Yeah.
Who will actually take it? So once you have a proper plan in place, and definitely when you reach out, it is the processes that are going to take care of
Yeah.
it. So third element is the fourth element is the process. Do you have, because when you're operating within your region or your area or your town, your city,
Mhm.
you're in control. You're in a much
Yeah.
better position to see, check, review. Everything is done by yourself. A lot of entrepreneurs do that when they're within that city. But once they start going out, who takes care of their business? The people and the process. So you have to have the right people and the right process. And for the right people also, you need the right process so that when they are going out, they should
Yeah.
carry your vision, your mission, your process, your ways of working. Everything should be same. Like you are here,
Yeah.
like that, the same person should be able to work there. So it should not be left to that person.
Mhm.
That now I have hired you, you start developing the market, whatever the way you wish. That should not be the message. The message is, this is the way of working of the company.
Mhm.
This is how we have built the organization within the city. And now you learn these ways of working and try to do it in other states.
That sounds reasonable. Uh, we have seen that many companies, in fact, as a nature of the industry, sales has been evolving, right? How companies did sales in, let's say, 2000 is not the same as how they did in 2010 or how they are doing now. And companies are, in a way, continuously trying to run some sort of sales transformation project, sales excellence projects every 2-3 years. So, in your understanding, how should companies measure the success of their sales transformation projects, either during the project or when they consider the project to be done?
I think it is the quality of the execution
Mm-hmm.
that should be measured. A lot of companies, they have tracking mechanism till the ASM level or
Yeah.
till the distributor level.
Yeah.
Beyond that, they are not. There is no visibility of
Mhm.
how the execution is actually taking place. Sales transformation, if you see,
Yeah.
because see, as a FMCG, because we are all in FMCG, so I'm talking about FMCG. In FMCG, we are not bothered about the distributor.
Yeah.
Because we don't sell to the distributor, we sell through the distributor. And our intent is to reach the consumer. And we want to create a consumer base. And
Yeah.
where do the consumers go to buy the product? Go to a retail outlet. And that is where the execution has to happen. So the sales transformation can be measured only if we measure the quality of execution in the retail outlet. And we know that before the transformation, this is what it was, and now it is. Now we have, better visibility in the outlet. Now we have the right range available in the outlet. Now we have more engaged retailers. Now we have, all this picture of success set for, our GTM, whatever we have created.
So, if I were to summarize in my words, the tools you have implemented, the spreadsheet that you have made, the boardroom meetings that you have done, they are not going to tell you what's the outcome of the project going like. You go on the ground, you measure what's happening at the frontline level, at the sales execution level, at the retail level. If that is changing, then whatever you have been doing in the background, that's making an impact. Otherwise, nothing is really happening on the ground, right?
Yes, absolutely right. So, I have seen when initially the Salesforce automation
Yeah.
was launched in India, I worked with many organizations where I used to go and train the frontline on how to use the sales side and what is the advantage and how to increase sales using the automation. All those trainings we used to do. And what I found, there's a lot of reluctance on the sales team part to accept the technology and use it. So the technology is good, but until and unless it is used for getting the transformation done, then there is no use of the technology. So your excellence, your transformation measurement, your excellence measurement is all in the market.
That makes sense. We also have heard similar things from people. So earlier, people used to tell us that our boys, our sales reps, don't want to use technology because they feel like they're being tracked. But when companies started to present their project and their tool implementation to the sales rep as something that will help them do their execution better, that will help them meet their targets better, that's when they also started adopting it more easily. Has that been your observation as well?
Yes, see, slowly people are adopting, and now it is almost a mandatory in almost all the organizations. Even smaller organizations have started adopting to the tools and automation. The way the automation is used is actually what matters. Now, what we are seeing, that though people are using the automation, but they are not using it to increase the sales. It should not be, I'm just giving an example, they book the order in an app, it should not become a digital order booking tool. It should become a tool to increase their sales. So once they realize that, and it helps them earn more incentives, it helps them give better direction, that is when they start accepting it better.
You touched upon training of sales teams better. Now I've seen that in many companies, or typically in FMCG industry, sales reps who have been in the industry for 10 years, 15 years, they get promoted to managers, right? It's not like they have received any specialized training specifically to become managers. It's just the experience that's promoting them to that level. How do you train these managers differently in that case? Is their training same as how you would train a sales rep, or do you do their training differently?
So definitely, managers training is completely different from what we do for the sales reps. The basic understanding is the role. See, as a sales rep, you've got a certain role. But as a manager, your role enhances, increases. And I've seen a lot of, I will share an example where I went for this market work with a senior sales officer who was handling a team of DSRs. And he just went and said that, today I will show you how do I achieve this target. I will show you. So he went in the market, and this DSR was quite scared, and he went along with the senior sales officer to the market, and this DSR took a back seat, and this guy was selling every time and telling the DSR, see how I have sold, why you're not able to sell it. At the end of the day, he was saying that, see, I have achieved the target and you're not able to achieve it. So this is not his role. You're not a glorified, you're not a super salesman. You're as a senior sales officer, your role is to ensure that this guy learns what you're doing. This guy is given that his self-esteem is enhanced. Now the DSR has got a lower self-esteem. At the same time, you have destroyed the DSR as morale. So that is where the role. I'm just giving an example. There are many other aspects to the role which they need to understand. So for our training purpose, we first make them understand the role, and for the role, what are the skills required? Maybe he knows the market better, he has got the experience, but do you know your role? Do you know the skills? And do you know how to use the tools to ensure that you achieve your goal?
What is the most common skill gap that you encounter in the sales reps themselves?
See, the front line, I would say the most common skill gap is their ability to do things consistently. Right? So sometimes they will be doing good, sometimes they will be doing not well. Basically because of two reasons. One is the discipline, and another is the understanding of the direction. So when you don't understand the direction given to you, you make your own assumptions. And those assumptions are not correct. And number
Yeah.
two is the discipline. So these two, discipline and understanding of the direction, are very important for the front line.
And for the sales heads or director sales, uh, what are their common skill gaps that you have seen?
See, for the sales side, I would say the planning skill gap.
Yeah.
A lot of people take, even these days, they take a lot of actions basis gut feeling,
Yeah.
basis whatever they understand from the market, or there could be few instances which are taken as benchmark, and basis that a lot of decisions are taken. No, that is not the right way of doing it. You have to dig deeper into data. You have to dig deeper into the perspective that you are creating and understand what it is, what is that one important thing that I should be focusing on. What happens at a manager or a sales head level, they sometimes get lost in a lot of agenda. That should not be the thing. Just focus on few things that are going to give the maximum results. I'm not talking about all the results. I'm talking about the maximum result.
Yeah.
Might be you will get few things correct by focusing on one thing in the next 3 months, 6 months, and then take up the next. If you focus on everything, nothing will get achieved.
Yeah.
And the direction, I was talking about the direction,
Yeah.
the front line, that actually percolates from there. If the sales head does not have focus and direction, the middle management will not have, the front line will not have. I have seen sales reps going to the market with 10 different KPIs, 10
Yeah.
different agendas, and they say that everything is important, but I have not achieved anything.
Yeah.
So discipline lacks because of that, and also I was talking about the understanding, because there are so many things, clutter, no understanding of what should I do.
So it appears to me that you would have different advices for a sales head, for the management, for the managers, as well as the sales reps. So when a company comes to you and they embark on a sales transformation journey, uh, how do you advise them to deal with this change management? Because it's a culture change, it's a process change, a lot of things which might have been perceived to be working well, you are going to inevitably change some of them. So how should organizations prepare themselves for this kind of change management that permeates their entire sales and distribution hierarchy?
Yeah, this is a very important question, and this is a challenge that we as consultants face many times. Though we have created the processes, the tools, the transformation has been planned, but the change management is extremely important. So, change is something which the company should measure, and they should keep a long-term perspective. It does not happen overnight. I have seen organizations who say that, we do a training, we want to change the attitude, we want to change the way that people are working, but we want to measure immediately in the next month, 2 months, what is happening. No, the change does not happen in 1 month. If they're not, suppose I'm saying, if they're not used to looking at data, then suddenly the SO will not start, analyzing the data from the next day. It will not happen. First, they should get into the understanding. So phase-wise understanding, and then long-term perspective, and very crystal clear understanding of what I need to change. You cannot change everything. Suppose in a training program or in a transformation, you are touching about 10 different things, but it should be broken up phase-wise. That in the first quarter, we will try to correct this one. Next quarter, we will try to change this one. And the ownership.
Yeah.
Who is going to drive it? Right till the frontline managers should have a buy-in, the ownership that this change is going to actually help them achieve, make their life better. Because any change is difficult until and unless the frontline has got a buy-in into it. And if they are not driving it, it will never happen. So these are the things.
So you mentioned that companies need to have a very good clarity on who is going to be driving the whole change management. Who is the ideal person managing the change? Who should they designate this to? Is this the sales side? Is this someone in the sales excellence or sales IT? Or is it the top level management themselves?
See, rather than I would say who is that person, I would say that who are these people who will drive sales. So this is like, people coming from different departments and forming a team. Because when you drive a change, it is not only about one person. So HR, the sales, the IT, the marketing, everyone, one person should be identified and they form a group, and
Yeah.
this group actually drives the change
Okay.
wherever you go, because they will need a support from each other in the journey.
So, Sandeep, we discussed how organizations themselves need to stay up to date with how retail sales and distribution is evolving. What should the sales professionals themselves do to stay up to date with the latest industry trends and keep updating their skill set?
See, the market is the best place to learn about the industry. And when I say market, it is not only just going to the market,
Yeah.
because what I've seen, many of the supervisory level people like a sales officer, manager, they go to the market and they're only talking about what target you have achieved, whether you have placed the right product or not, what have what are the gaps, very transactional in nature. But when they need to stay updated about the market, then they have to understand the latest trends that is happening, how's the category moving, what are the category trends. If you go to the market, you speak to the retailer, you check the category, you will find the category trends, you will find the new launches that are coming in, you will find what the retailers are asking for, because retailers are also becoming very demanding these days, and retailers have got more options these days. What are retailers talking about? When you're in the market, talk to a few consumers whom you meet in the market. What are they looking forward to? And you generally try to understand the way your company, your organization is positioned in this entire framework of thing which is going on. Then you will get a perspective that what I should be doing to ensure that my market share increases. So when I say, you have to stay updated what the, managers should do, then learning starts from the market. The more you are putting your thinking cap in the market while you're working, not just becoming transactional, then your market intelligence is better, then your perspective is better, your thoughts are more clearer. And then when you check with the data, this is the second part of it, then when you check with the data, you will get better perspectives and you can drive the results in a better way.
So, how is training of these sales reps evolving with the rise of digital tools, digital medium, the sales training as well as learning? How is that evolving?
It is also evolving. See, earlier we used to only have classroom trainings. I
Yeah.
am talking about the frontline, only classroom trainings that we used to have, because companies also felt, and we also feel that, classroom trainings impact better, especially in the frontline I'm talking about.
Mhm.
But now I'm seeing a lot of these organizations are taking up online learning, small nuggets of training, like a 1 hour, 1.5 hour kind of a training spread over 2 months, 3 months, so that the sales team is also engaged and their retention is better, and they're able to evaluate that what they have learned, a simple topic, and then how they are able to execute in the market. So I think the evolution is happening because people are now getting used to online learning. They understand the importance of online learning and the monitoring, because earlier what we used to see that some guys would switch off the camera and stay away and they are not attentive and all this stuff. Very difficult to catch hold of these guys.
Yeah.
They say that network is not there, things like that. So now they are also becoming more disciplined, more participation is happening. And we as trainers are also finding, because it is a bit different from offline training, so we as trainers are also finding out ways in which to engage the online learners better. So I think digital transformation is happening in that way. Online, offline, hybrid training, all these are slowly catching up.
So we have seen your book FMCG Sales Toolkit being used by multiple companies in FMCG space, even companies like BeatRoute for training our own people. Are you planning a digital version of this?
Yes, we are actually planning a digital. So this is my book, FMCG Sales Toolkit, and this book is also a result of a lot of queries that had come in through my YouTube channel, through a lot of learners who are saying that, why don't you write a book where we can get all the knowledge together in one place. And it also helps a lot of startups, people who want to understand more about the FMCG industry, the MBA students, and a lot of people who want to really understand. So for them, this book is very helpful. And yes, we are going to launch a digital version very shortly. It is just under process, probably a few weeks, and we are going to launch a digital version.
Wow, that's nice. Sandeep, we have had a really good, very insightful discussion with you. So, to summarize, what would be your top three advices for some sales head or some industry professional listening to this discussion? Three takeaways.
See, three takeaways. If I say the number one is execution, execution, execution. So execution, because whatever the planning, whatever the direction that you give has to get translated into action on the ground. If that does not happen, then so number one, focus more on execution. Ensure that your communication, your direction to the sales team is simple so that they can understand. Few directions, they are not able to take multiple directions. Few directions, very focused, and ensure that happens as a phase one or a phase two, like in the execution. First, I've talked about execution. Then I will talk about the leadership. See, when as a leader, you are just becoming very transactional, then what happens? The entire organization is driven towards one target. We have to achieve the target, and that is what we are living here for. No, it is not that. We are not judging. I've seen many organizations where they are achieving the target, but they're losing market share. They're achieving the target, but they're losing market share because consistently they have been not achieving, and now the targets are revised downwards sometimes because of the historical data, because we are doing data analysis. See that the past year we have done this, what should be this? So basis that we have set the target, and it is much less than what other competitors have said, because we are in touch with so many players in the same industry. We know that this company has set very high target, but this company has set very less target. Same category. Why? Because of the historical data. Team is not performing. So they've revised the target downwards, which is not a very good sign. So what I should, they should open their mind and try to understand how the category is moving. What percentage should our growth be, so that we, at least if we not gain market share, how we actually retain our market share. So that is how the approach should be, and it is not historical database selling, but I say it as an opportunity based selling. This is number two, which is basis the opportunity. And number three is people orientation. So when I tell people orientation, it is more to do with developing people. A lot of companies, they are now, even smaller companies have started investing their time in developing people. Earlier, bigger organization used to train people, and there was a lot of hire and fire and everything which is to go on. But now, even frontline or in the middle line, there are many opportunities. As I said, there are lakhs of FMCG companies in India, and more 600 FMCG companies just waiting, and D2C companies are just waiting to come offline. So the market is going to be very different. The landscape is going to be very different in the next. Shorter product life cycle, more products coming in, consumer choices. So a lot of this is going to happen in the next few years. Now, what you need to do is, if you don't develop the people to adapt to the very dynamic and very fast changes that are happening in the market, then your company and your people lose out. So people development, training them, coaching them, retaining them is the third very important thing.
Awesome. I really enjoyed this chat. Thanks, Sandeep.
Thank you, Nikhil. It was a pleasure, and I wish you all the best, your team and everyone. Wish you all
Thank you.